you might be a 900, 1000, 700, 800, 1100 rated player. And you maybe have hopes of becoming a grandmaster and becoming as good as Magnus Carlsen. Well, to that I say, it is not going to happen. But Magnus was at one point as good as you. He did have 900 elo at some point. This game is his first ever game in the database. He played this against a 1500 in a, I don't know what tournament. I'm assuming some Norwegian tournament, and this is his FIDE rating, 900. And let's see if you are as good as 10-year-old Magnus. This game is from 2000, which makes him 10. Magnus begins with e4, c5, knight f3, and he heads for this kind of close Sicilian. I kind of like this for white because you kind of force a decision out of black. Like, do they want to play d6? Do they want to play g6? And also this avoids some main lines. For example, the Kalashnikov and Sveshnikov Sicilian. Because a normal Kalashnikov player or something would play d6 here, d4, take, e5. This is not as good. This is not the Kalashnikov. And if you were to play, like, let's say d4 immediately, then they could play the Sveshnikov like this. And this is normal Sveshnikov. And if you play like this, they can't really play this. Actually, they can. e5. Yeah, e5 is possible, but not that good. So, yeah, but you kind of avoid some theory here with this. And now e5. And this is now almost all out of theory. But here he can play bishop to c4. Bishop c4 is here a good move because he's already moved the e-pawn 2 squares. So these squares here are kind of weakened. And this bishop actually has a nice scope here. Oh, sorry. And now d6, he builds kind of this triangle Botvinnik system here. d3, and now knight d5. Maybe not the best move, but you know, this is the kind of playing style you get from 10-year-olds. They're out of theory and they just play moves that seem good, like knight d5, attacking some squares, improving your knight. So now bishop to e6, trying to put some pressure on knight and just develop a piece. So now knight e7, and now queen e7 is basically forced. You know, I don't know why he didn't take with the knight, probably because he didn't like his pawns being doubled, but this isn't actually that bad. Because you just prevent d4 from happening, and you might even play d5. So probably c4 would happen at some point. So queen e7, and now bishop to g5. This is not that good of a move. He should have really played bishop b5, or bishop e6, or maybe b3, or b3 just seems a bit weird. So bishop g5, I guess the idea is he wants to force his opponent to play f6. And then he just wants to retreat his bishop. And he's just arguing his position is weakened. But he plays knight f6, he doesn't budge, and he's just a bit better here as black. And now he takes on e6. And here queen e6 now gives advantage back. Now it's back to equal. He should have taken with the pawn. And this is kind of hard for amateur and beginner players to understand this concept. That doubling your pawns here isn't bad because you're serving a purpose. They're opening the f-file for your rook, and they are allowing you to play d5 and expand in the center. But none of that happens. He just castles, and now knight h4. Maybe not the best move, but it's very principled. You're trying to put a knight here, but the thing is why this doesn't work that well is because of d5. And now f3 has to be played, and now just h6. Take, knight f5, and this is just, I mean, it's still good, but like black just has so much central space. So yeah, castles, knight h4. He just goes knight to d7, which is a move I don't quite understand why he would do this. I guess he's just saying that this bishop is trash now, but it really isn't. And this knight isn't really doing anything here. Like on f6, it was supporting the d5 push. But like on b6, it's not doing anything. It's not like it's going to get into d4, c4. So I don't really understand. It's on just knight f5 now. This is very principled. And I think this was the idea of knight d7 actually. He wants to play f6. Because, I mean, h6 to square away the bishop is just not that good. Because now this knight lives forever here. You have to get rid of it via like this. And now already g4 can be played. And this is quite nice. Here you just take, and now you take on d5, and you are up a pawn, which is quite easy to defend. but your king is a bit weakened, so black has some compensation. So f6 is a very good move, and bishop h4 is not. Because bishop h4, you can just simply play like knight e7 or something. Or like even rook f7, rook e8 or something. But if you would have played bishop e3, then if he plays knight e7, the idea is take, and you're getting c3 and d4 in. Obviously with the bishop on h4, it's just staring into nothing. But like this, you're getting a lot of central counterplay here. Like they can maybe try knight b6, going for d5. But even if a4, d5, a5, and you just, I mean, better here, so let's play, I don't know, maybe a5, no, like queen e6, and you just get a5, knight d7, and you're just getting d4 at some point now. So none of that happens, though. Bishop h4, knight e7, and now he's kind of forced to take, and this is completely equal, don't get me wrong, but Magnus, he just could have been a bit better. So c3 now, he wants to expand in the center, which is a very good plan. King h8, f3. f3 looks a bit bad, but it's actually the top engine move, because f3 gives the bishop a square on f2, first of all. It guards this pawn, because like if you would have just, like, let's say you would have just played d4, take. Look at that, and you're almost losing. So he plays f3, which is, I mean, such a good move, understanding that his king isn't really weakened here, because like there's no way he can get to it. And this is kind of a lesson, like you shouldn't be afraid to play f3, move your f-pawn, if there's no actual way for them to get to your king. Like let's say, I mean, you would just do some stupid shit like this. Like yeah, c4 is a discovered attack, but it doesn't actually do anything. Like even if you allow this, like this is not that bad, because you can always cover. So yeah, f3, and he does not do any of that. He plays rook f to c8, which is a good move, but he should have instead played b5, expanded on the queen side, and gone for an attack here, because Magnus' pieces are kind of stuck on the king side, while he can mobilize his pieces quickly to the queen side. Yeah, I mean, he's kind of trying to do this, but it's just not the right idea, because it's not doing anything here on the c file. And if he would have just played like something like rook f to b8 too, like you don't have to play b5 immediately. Bishop to a5, and your attack is kind of reigning in here. Now white has to kind of play on the defense, and even though white is a bit better, black has the initiative here with like b5 and a lot of space and stuff like that. So rook fc8, and now Magnus goes for d4. This is a very, very good move. Takes, and yeah, he just takes back. And instead of taking back again, his opponent realizes that after takes, d6 is a huge weakness. Like he's just going to play rook d1, rook d2, rook d1, and just get this pawn. So he's not going to do that. He's going to play rook c7, which is, I think, yeah, not the best move, but one of the best moves. Very nice spot here by him. Yeah, so he just goes bishop to e1. Bishop to e1 is a nice find. The idea is he wants to bring his bishop to the queen side. He could have played something better. He could have just played like it's a queen to d2. Looks good, or rook c1. Rook c1 I don't think looks that good. Actually, no, it does, because you're getting the c file here. Knight b6 trying to go here. In d2, rook c1, rook c8, and like bishop f2. And you have a nice position. Now rook c7, because bishop e1 on this position is heading back to being more equal. Yeah, bishop e1 is just isn't like fast enough, and yeah. But what you can really see here is that Magnus is 900, his opponent is 1500, and he's like holding equal here. This is like kind of cool to see. But yeah, I think this was the idea. Bishop c3, and he wants to block the c file, because now there's no way these rooks are ever getting in. So now rook to c4 is the best move. And even though it's equal, I think black kind of has the initiative. But now d5, and here the best move is f5. With the idea that you want to soften up white's pawn structure. After takes, knight f6, this pawn is weak, and you're getting a lot of compensation. But instead he plays b5 here, trying to play b4, bishop moves, and rook on the 7th. Queen d2 tries to prevent this, and here again f5, but he just doesn't see the idea. Like again, if f5 takes and like knight f6, a3 stopping this, queen to d7, and these pawns are just getting sniped from everywhere. a5, b4 is getting in. Let's say rook d1, like even h6 here is winning. I mean, a5 is also, I mean, it's not that good, but you can even play that. Like queen f5 here, and yeah, you can't really hold on to this pawn because g4 is just way too weakening. Now your king is kind of getting sniped, and black's pieces are just working in perfect harmony, while white's pieces are just kind of standing weird. Knight b6, and now queen to e2. And this is kind of bad because Magnus wastes another tempo moving his queen to a not even that good square. It's not like he's attacking the rook. So knight b6, by the way, the idea is, I think, to play like rook c7, knight c4. So now knight to a4. He's just trying to get this bishop here. And like, he has to play something like bishop to d2 and give up this pawn and just say you have compensation, rook f to b1, knight a4 and taking, and white's position kind of activates a bit, so it's equal. But if you play rook a b1, but if you let's see, like rook a b1, knight a4, this is worse because now rook to c2 and this pawn is now hanging. Like if you had the rook here and this rook now here, then this pawn wouldn't have been hanging. Like if you look at this line here, rook c2, this pawn isn't hanging. Like he just plays like queen e3, puts eyes on this pawn. Again, f5 is the best move. Like say queen d7, and just rook b1 again, and you're just defending here. Black is a bit better because his pieces are better, but white is defending. So bishop d2, this actually happens in the game. Knight b2, rook a b1, and yeah, I mean Magnus is just a bit worse. Knight f4, rook b5, and here he has a few options. Like he can play something like knight to b6. If then Magnus plays something like h3, rook c2, queen d3, maybe getting out of the pin, and if takes, you simply have rook a5, takes, and apparently you're holding this. Like I'm not sure about this. Like, apparently you have some pressure here. Yeah, like you could also play, let's say h6 even. And here the idea is rook to b8 with takes, which Magnus would even be better. So queen to c7, and you just trade everything off. You play bishop to e3, say a5 or something, yeah, a5. And queen d2, queen c7, and I mean h3. And you're just gonna kind of have a fortress here. Like f5 would be again a fighting try, but you're just losing a pawn this time, so it doesn't really work anymore. And it's kind of the thing, his opponent kind of waited around doing nothing. Like he should have played f5 earlier, should have done more, but he just kind of lazily attacked this bishop and didn't lazily calculate, didn't see that far. But yeah, in this position he played rook to c2, and I don't know what happened here, but he resigned. Like he played rook c2 and resigned, which is I don't know why exactly he would do that, because it is the best move and he's a bit better even. So he resigned. Maybe he thought rook a5, but just knight b2, knight c4. Like you can't even take, like queen e3, knight c4. So I don't know what he was thinking. Maybe this is just an error because the game was played so long ago. So just to illustrate the line here, queen d3, like rook a2, rook c1, bishop c1, h6, and like queen c4. And white is holding, but black is definitely better because he is a pawn up. Like anything is actually worse except rook to a1, h3, knight to b6, and now simply queen c3, rook a4, bishop e3, and white's pieces are playing really well here. This, now queen to a1, if this, you can even go c1, and if this again, you can go back to a1, and it's just a move repetition here probably. So that was the game. Yeah, I don't know why it happened, why he resigned here. Probably a mistake. But yeah, you can kind of see that Magnus is just playing principled, and you can kind of take this away from this game. And Magnus isn't doing anything fancy. He's just simply making his pieces better. Playing for more central control here with f3 and just playing like super principled with like bishop e1 even is very principled to defend the center, and yeah, c3, and you just play like this. And I mean, yeah, Magnus played this very well. I mean, he is the greatest chess player of all time, so yeah. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.